Hi, I'm Pam.
And I'm Kate.
We're volunteers at the Cops and Kids Reading Room. Today we're going to read the book The Lion King. And then we're going to make a craft, these really cool masks. Get ready to read. Hi! Today we're going to read the story The Lion King. I'm sure all you guys are very familiar with the story from the movie. And then after we finish reading the story, we're going to do a craft. And we're going to learn how to make a special treat. So here we go, The Lion King. The animals came from far and near across the dusty African plain. They came on padding paws and pounding hooves and flapping wings. Each beast, from the tiniest ant to the largest elephant, made its way to Pride Rock. That was the home of the Lion King, and this was a special day in the Pride Lands. Today, Simba, the firstborn cub of King Mufasa and Queen Sarabi, would join the great circle of life. The animals took their places and bowed to King Mufasa. Then Rafiki, the wise baboon, stood at the edge of Pride Rock and held up the little cub for all to see. A great cry rose from all the animals. The elephants trumpeted, the zebras whined, and the birds sang for joy at the sight of Simba, the future Lion King. But one animal did not join in the joyous ceremony. Scar, the king's jealous brother, stayed in his den. Later, Scar joined when the king's advisor Zazu, the hornbill, criticized him. Then the evil lion popped the bird in his mouth. Scar would have eaten Zazu if Mufasa hadn't come along just in time. Zazu wiped his feathers off and scolded. As the king's brother, you should have been first in line at Simba's ceremony. Scar's green eyes gleamed. I was first in line until the little hairball was born. That hairball is my son, and your future king, Mufasa growled. Scar slinked away. Don't turn your back on me, Mufasa warned. Scar looked back over his shoulder. His eyes narrowed. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me. Simba grew quickly. One morning, Mufasa took his son to the top of Pride Rock and told him, the circle of life never stops turning. One day the sun will set on my time as ruler and rise with you as king. And then everything the light touches will be yours. What about that shadowy place? Simba asked. Mufasa declared, you must never, ever go there. Suddenly, Zazu swooped down and squawked, hyenas in the Pride Lands! Mufasa frowned. Zazu, take Simba home. Dad, can't I come? Simba whined. Mufasa shook his mighty mane. Fighting savages, hyenas was no job for a cub. Later, Simba asked his uncle Scar about the shadowy place. An evil plan formed in Scar's mind. Only the bravest lions go to the elephant graveyard, Scar told him. He knew the foolish cub would go there just to prove his bravery. Scar was right. Simba couldn't wait to go to the elephant graveyard with his best friend, Nala. But how could they go with Zazu watching every move they made? We have to ditch the dodo, Simba whispered to Nala. She giggled and agreed. Soon, the two friends found a way to escape their feathered babysitter. Before long, the young lions had reached the dark, mysterious place beyond the borders of the Pride Land. Giant bones poked out of the ground. It's kind of scary, Nala whispered. Let's check it out, Simba said. I laughed in the face of danger. Ha 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 ha. Hee 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 hee. Crackled the three mean hyenas, Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed. Look, boys, a king fit for a meal, they snickered. The cubs ran, but soon found themselves cornered. Simba stepped bravely in front of Nala and tried to roar. Roar! The hyenas laughed and jeered. Simba opened his mouth to try again. This time the elephant bones rattled with a thunderous roar. The hyenas were confused, and so was Simba, until Mufasa sprang into view. The mighty lion chased away the hyenas. Zazu had seen the cubs in trouble and flown for help. Mufasa told Zazu to take Nala home. Then he scolded Simba for disobeying him. "Aw, Dad, I was just trying to be brave like you," Simba explained. Mufasa sighed. Being brave doesn't mean you go looking for trouble, Simba. A good king is wise as well as brave. Simba suddenly felt very small. We always be together, right, Dad? Mufasa looked at the starry sky and said, "The great king of the past looked down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you, and so will I." Later, Scar met with the hungry hyenas. "I practically gave those cubs to you," he complained. They weren't exactly alone, Sensi whined, but Scar had another plan that would allow him to be king. "Stick with me, and you'll never go hungry again," he promised. The hyenas danced and cheered. The next morning, Scar took Simba to the bottom of a rocky canyon. "Now wait here," he said. "Well, I like the surprise?" Simba asked. Scar smiled slyly. "Oh, it's to die for," he said, as he walked away. Then he gave a signal to the hyenas waiting on the canyon ridge. The hyenas knew what to do. They chased a huge herd of wildebeest down the canyon. Simba felt the earth shake. He heard the clattering of thousands of hooves. Then he saw the wildebeest heading straight for him. Simba managed to climb a dead tree and cling to a branch. "Help! Help!" he shouted. Help was on its way, for Scar had found his brother. "Mufasa! Simba's trapped in a stampede!" Scar cried. Just as Scar had planned, Mufasa rushed to Simba's rescue. He lifted his son to safety, but then fell under the rushing tide of hooves. "Dad!" Simba shouted. He couldn't see anything through the huge dust cloud. Mufasa tried to pull himself up the steep rocks. From above, Scar watched his brother struggle. "Help me, brother! Help me!" Mufasa pleaded. Scar reached for Mufasa's paws. He pulled his brother close and whispered, "Long live the king!" And then Scar let go and watched Mufasa tumble down the steep slope. When the stampede was over, Simba found his father lying lifeless in the dust. "No!" Simba wailed. Scar came to the sobbing cub's side. "What have you done?" he accused. "There was a wildebeest everywhere. He tried to save me. It was an accident. I didn't mean to," Simba said. "Of course not. But if you weren't for you, he'd still be alive." "What will your mother think?" Scar demanded. Simba looked stricken. "What should I do?" "Run away," Scar advised. "Run away and never come back." Scar watched Simba run. Then he sent the hyenas after him. The hyenas chased Simba to the border of the Pride Lands. The cub dived into a thicket of thorns at the edge of a great desert. The hyenas looked at the sharp thorns, then at the desert. "The cub won't last a day out here," Shenzi declared. Simba ran until he could run no more. The thirsty cub collapsed on the sand. Vultures circled him hungrily. But Timon, the mercat, and his fat friend Pumbaa, the warthog, chased away the vultures. Simba woke up in their jungle home. "Where are you from?" Timon asked. Simba sighed. "It doesn't matter. I can't go back." "What do you do, kid?" Pumbaa wondered. "Something terrible," Simba replied. Timon shrugged. "Who cares? You've got to put the past behind you. Hakuna Matata." "What?" Simba asked. "Hakuna Matata," Timon repeated. "It means no worries. That's the motto we live by, and here's what we live." Timon showed Simba a wiggly insect. Simba watched Pumbaa eat a grub. "Slimy, but satisfying," the warthog said with a big burp. Simba frowned. He ate the big grub. Then the cub smiled and said, "Hakuna Matata." In the months that followed, Simba ate many, many grubs and grew into a full-size lion. Most of the time, he was happy with his friends, Timon and Pumbaa. Yet he missed his mother and often thought of his father. One night, as they gazed at the stars, Simba remembered what his father had told him. He wondered if the great kings of the past were really looking down from those stars. Simba felt very, very alone. The next day, Simba heard Timon scream. The young lion raced to the rescue. A hungry lioness was about to pounce on Pumbaa, who was stuck under a log. Timon bravely was trying to protect him. Simba gave a mighty roar. and leaped at the lioness. But just as they began to fight, Simba recognized his old friend. "Nala?" he gasped in disbelief. The lioness looked deep into the eyes of the handsome young lion and whispered, "Simba? Scar told us you were dead." Nala told Simba how terrible things were now that King Scar and the hyenas ruled the Pride Lands. There was no food or water, and many of the animals had fled. "But you can come home and be back and become king. And then everything will be all right again," Nala said. But that night, Rafiki, the baboon, came to Simba and promised to bring him to his father. When Simba looked up at the stars, he heard a familiar voice. "Simba," his father said, "have you forgotten me?" Simba gasped. "No, no, how could I? You have forgotten who you are, and so have forgotten me," the ghostly voice continued. "Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life." Simba knew his dad was right. His friends returned with him to the Pride Lands. Back at Pride Rock, King Scar was angry with Sarabi for not finding food. Suddenly Scar heard a great roar. He couldn't believe his eyes. "Mufasa? It can't be. You're dead." But Sarabi recognized her son. "Simba," she said. "I've come to take my place as king," Simba roared. But Scar would not back down so easily. Simba leaped at Scar, but the villain slipped away. Instead, the hyenas rushed at Simba. Pride Rock echoed with their hideous laughter as the hyenas forced Simba to the edge of the cliff. Scar walked up to the exhausted young lion. "Your daddy isn't here to save you this time," Scar taunted. Then he pushed Simba off the cliff. Simba's paws scrambled for a hold on the steep slope. "This looks familiar," Scar sneered. "Oh yes, I remember. It's just the way your father looked before I killed him." At last, Simba knew the truth. With a mighty roar, he leapt at Scar. Meanwhile, Timon, Pumbaa, and the lioness had chased the hyenas off Pride Rock. When Simba sent Scar flying over the cliff, the villain landed in the middle of hungry hyenas. "Hee hee hee hee," they crackled. Finally, they had a meal fit for a king, or a king fit for a meal. Simba thanked his friends. Then he walked to the top of Pride Rock. His roar echoed through the Pride Lands. The rightful king had taken his throne. The plains were soon lush and green again. The animals returned, and the hunting was good once more. Simba knew that a king must have a queen, so of course he chose the beautiful Nala. Before long, the animals came from far and near across the dusty African plain. This time they came to greet the firstborn cub of King Simba and Queen Nala. Wise old Rafiki stood at the edge of Pride Rock and held up the cub for all to see. The elephants trumpeted and the zebras whined for joy as a future Lion King joined the great circle of life. The end.
And welcome to our craft time. We're making lion masks, and we thought it would be so fun to do that since today's story was the Lion King. So Pam's holding up our masks. We made one to show you. Each of us made one, and they look a little different, don't they? Like Pam has all brown on her, all the mane, the lion's mane, which goes around their face. Pam's is all brown, nice and long. And then mine, I kind of did brown and yellow combination. And then Pam's face has, you know, a lot of orange and a little yellow. And mine kind of looks like it has a little both, more yellow and orange. And so it's fun to do. You can do, when you do your mask, they can come out any way you want it to look like. Okay, so for today's masks, we need just a few things that you will, I'm sure you'll have at home. A paper plate, which we have, and then a craft stick, or a popsicle stick, or you can even use a pencil if you have that. And we're going to tape that in a second. And then also construction paper. So we tore up little pieces of orange construction paper and yellow paper. But again, if you have brown paper or other colors you want to use, you can do that too. And then you also need glue and maybe some Scotch tape and scissors. Well, I already cut. We need scissors, but to cut out the eyes, but Mom and Dad can help you do this because we have to cut through the plate. So I already cut out, you can make them round. I kind of made mine almond-shaped eyes, but you can do round eyes if you want. So, but yeah, it's Mom and Dad will probably help you with that, or somebody else living at home. So, and then white paper for the whiskers. The whiskers are coming out on the side of the nose. You can use little white strips of paper if you want, or different colors. And then we cut out different colors of browns and kind of cream colors to be the mane, to be the long hair around the face. So those are all our materials. So, the first step, so we cut out the eyes, and then I taped on, you can glue it and tape it. I taped on the craft stick to the back of the paper plate. So you can do both. You can glue it and tape it to make sure it's secure. And because then you can, that's how you hold up your mask. Hold it up, Pam. There, there you go. Okay. So I started this one a little bit. I glued on some yellow and orange pieces. And I'll glue a couple more on, and then I'll show you how to glue on the nose. Oh, I didn't say that. Out of black felt, you can use black paper. We had black felt. We cut out a little triangle-shaped nose, and then kind of like a little mouth, the little jowls or the mouth of the lion. So you can use whatever you have at home. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit more glue on my plate, and just show you quickly how to do some more. It's fun. You just
kind of making a collage.
Yeah, you just kind of put different, the different colors wherever you want them to be, and just have fun with it.
Make sure you don't cover up the eyes.
No, you have to be able to see through there. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my nose. So I'm going to put glue on the back of my nose, my triangle-shaped nose, and then that will go
under the eyes.
Right about there.
Yep.
Yeah. And now this one you can see, this one is a pointy triangle, and this one's kind of a little rounded. So you can do that too. You can do, you make it your own little nose. And then I'm going to put glue on the mouth, or the jowls, or put that on, and I'm going to glue that under the nose, like that. And then what else do we need? We need whiskers. We need to put the little white whiskers on the side. So I'm just going to do one side just to show you. So we'll put, because you want to put maybe 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. So I'll just put 3 over here. And it's okay if you get glue on your fingers. You can also use a glue stick if you have a glue stick at home. That works too, right, Pam?
Yep.
We like both. And then we need to do the mane, all the furry mane that goes around the whole face. So I will put glue around part of my plate, and then I'm going to just start taking our strips of brown paper and just glue it right on the edge of the plate. So you can leave spaces in between if you want. You can put them close together, however you want to do it. That's what makes art. Art is fun because, it's your own way of doing things. So this is wet, so, I mean, if I would do it down on the table, and then you have to let it dry. But you get the idea of how you're going to make it a big furry lion mane.
Once the mane goes all the way around, it will come out like this.
Yes, that is the finished product. So, and ta-da!
There we go.
That's it. That's a lion mask.
There's your lion mask. Now, the next part that we're going to do, since Simba and Timon and Pumbaa were eating grubs, we're going to make our own grub dessert. So I made some chocolate pudding, and I crushed up some chocolate cookies. Now I found these chocolate cookies, but you can also use Oreo cookies and crush those up like dirt, right? And mix it up, and then I have these delicious looking gummy worms. Yum, just like grubs.
They're pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty colors.
So here's my chocolate pudding already made. I made the chocolate pudding and then I added some dirt to it already, so it has a little bit of a texture to it. And then I'm just going to take a teaspoon or so of some of the dirt and put it in the bottom of the cup. Scoop it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take a big helping of the chocolate pudding.
Yum.
Chocolate pudding.
Who doesn't like chocolate pudding, right?
And then we can take a worm, kind of stick the worms in there. All different kinds of worms.
Fun.
And I also will have the recipe for you so you know how to learn how to do this. And you can make this at home. And then we're going to take more of the dirt. And we're going to put it over the worms.
That's so
like
fun.
that.
It smells good too. I can smell it.
And here we go. Here's your dirt recipe.
Yummy.
Just like Simba. Eating the grubs. Enjoy. Have fun. Thank you for joining us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.